Liverpool have just smashed the British record transfer fee for Florian Wirtz. What does this mean for the rest of the league? And are Liverpool massive favourites to retain their title next season? To break all of this down, plus the top 10 most expensive Premier League transfers in history, you're with your boy NJ and Marky Mark. Minge.
What are you saying, Neely?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, geezer. I'm really jealous. I'm super jealous because Liverpool have just made a massive statement by signing Florian Wirtz, the German wonder kid. I saw this guy. Granted, I do not watch a lot of Bundesliga, but I have seen him in international tournaments. And every time I see this, I think he is probably the most exciting German player in the German national team. I think he is super dynamic. He is an absolute game changer. I think he's going to absolutely rip up the Premier League. Now, they need him, right? But as great as he is, I don't make Liverpool ultimate favourites for the league because I still think they're a little bit short on the left wing and also up front. That is how I feel. But the window hasn't even really started yet. We had this little mini pre-one before the Club World Cup, and they've managed to secure him. So he's about to sign on the dotted line. Bro, what I would do to have Florian Wirtz at Chelsea, even though Chelsea are already jam-packed in the middle, because I imagine him at Chelsea. I've been dreaming about this guy. Not sexually, don't get hard, but I've been dreaming about this guy. And then initially he was going to go to Man City. That was the initial first reports of his transfer, because obviously his boyfriend and lover, Xabi Alonso, has gone off to Real Madrid. I thought he was going to join him. But there hasn't been too many rumours about that. And the rumours are he was initially going to link to Manchester City. And all of a sudden, Liverpool have come out of the blocks, bro. 150 million to Bayer Leverkusen. But to be fair, in this day and age, well worth it. Congratulations on Liverpool. That is a fantastic signing.
Yeah.
What do you think, my man?
I agree. Statement signing, huge. And players from Germany, the Bundesliga, tend to translate pretty well over the Premier League. I'm hearing people saying, well, let's see if he translates, let's see if he works, let's see if he, hits the ground running. Premier League's very different to Bundesliga. It is different, but the Bundesliga is also a super active league. And we've seen Haaland come over recently. You've seen Kevin De Bruyne. You've seen tons of players that have come over. There's a whole list of them.
Timo Werner.
Yes.
Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
They're trash players,
yeah,
bro.
Okay, look, you're going to get hits.
It's not all amazing.
You're going to get hits and misses.
Yes.
Of course you are. That's just the way it is. But in terms of what leagues translate quite well, I think Bundesliga translates better than, say, Serie A, for example, in terms of the number of players that have come over.
Absolutely.
So I think you're right. This is a huge statement signing, and we're going to go into what this means for Liverpool, what this means for the rest of the Premier League as well in a bit. But what I wanted to do, Mark, I wanted to compare them because, look, they have just broken the record, right? And I want to discuss what a heavy price tag means. And I want to do that by discussing the other top 10 transfers or the top 10 most expensive transfers in Premier League history. So I'm going to shout out some names to you. And you've got to tell me if they're a flop or if they're a success. Fair? All right.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
So let's go in order. I believe the most expensive player until Wirtz signed, I could be wrong here, because actually it might be the one who's number 2 on the list. But as it stands, Enzo Fernandez, 107 million straight off the bat without add-ons, Benfica to Chelsea. Are we saying he's a hit or a miss?
Hit. By the by, yeah, if we had this podcast at the end of last season, yeah, in his first season at Chelsea, I would have said, bro, Chelsea got absolutely bummed, and I was like 106 million. And it's crazy but that's what I'm trying to tell you, geezer. Like, it takes time for players, no matter how young or old you are, to come, not just to any league, to come to the Premier League and adapt. There are seldom few that are able to come in and hit the ground running. Haaland, EG. And that's what's happened, like, with Enzo Fernandez. He's come in, and his first season was so disappointing. Even in this most recent season, the second season he was in, the first half of it, I thought this was disappointing. We have our Chelsea friends, and they still think he's a disappointment. They was like, send him to Real Madrid, because they really want him. I mean, if Real Madrid come in and pay 100 million or 105 million, we recoup that back, I'd say go.
Yeah.
But I think that we do need him, and he has massively improved. He scored vital goals, vital assists in the second half of the season. And I'm a little bit excited now that he's, got a little bit of feel for the Premier League. Now he's got a little bit of, cohesion with his team. Now he's a little bit more settled at Chelsea. I am eager to see how well he performs in the next season, in his third season. But yes, stay next.
Okay.
Now, what do you think, though? What do you think? I know you don't follow every single Chelsea game, but you have seen the highlights. You're a football fan. Hit or miss?
I think number 2 on this list is more of a hit than Enzo at the moment. My jury's out. The jury's out at the moment, but I think he has definitely improved this season. I think he's settling into Chelsea, and if he continues on this trajectory, I definitely think that, this will be a potential hit for you guys. But I just find him frustrating to watch. Now, I'm not as close to the club as you are, but I do find him frustrating to watch. And I think he needs to eliminate that from his game. But statistically, he's popping up with goals in big moments, and assists as well. You've got to say, especially the second part of this season, he's been good. So I'm not sure yet. But I don't think he's the biggest flop, for sure. That's for sure. There's bigger flops on this list, by the way, Mark, than Enzo Fernandez in my book, by a country mile.
It's just £106 million. Has he justified that fully? No, but he has improved. And as I said, third season, we'll really get to find out if he's worth that price tag.
Cool. I agree. Number 2 on the list, that could actually end up number 1 before the Wirtz signing. Moises Caicedo. He went over for initially 100 mil, but with add-ons, I think it's rising to 115 mil. Hit or a miss?
He is the biggest transfer, bro, in Premier League history, and 100% hit. If we paid 130, 140 million for him in this day and age, considering what he's done, his age, the way that he's adapting, and every day, every season improving massively, I'll be happy. Paid 130, 140, even 150 million. I've already told you multiple times. I'm a massive fan of Moises Caicedo. He's the best DM in the world. This is my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. Rodri's injured, so right now, Moises Caicedo. And if people watch Chelsea day in, day out, every single game, you will see the asset that Chelsea have hit. What do you think?
Yeah, I've loved Caicedo for a long period of time. I obviously had a very poor first season at Chelsea, but Brighton, he was excellent, and it did seem a bit of an outlandish number. But like you said, in this day and age, right? I think players of this ilk, they cost a bit, and he's still young. He is a great DM. He can also be a number 8. He can be an absolute beast, and if he starts adding goals to his game like it looks like he's going to, and he can hit them from outside the box as well, as we've seen, I think he could end up being one of those really complete midfielders. So I think it's going to be a hit regardless. It's obviously the price tag of 115 mil, right? But that weighs heavy.
Worth it, man.
Yeah,
bro,
I think he's acclimatised well. Second season at Chelsea. Very similar to, I say similar, but this man had a better first season when he moved over to us. Declan Rice came over at 100, 105 mil. He's third on our list. I think we're both categorically going to say, even though this potentially at times wasn't his best season, he's a hit, right?
He's such a quality player. Declan Rice is a quality player. He is too big for a club like West Ham, no disrespect to Hammers, right? And he's come into Arsenal, and there was this big debate, who would you rather have? Would you have Caicedo, Declan Rice? I mean, I'd have Caicedo. But that's not to say that I am going to tarnish or, disrespect this guy, man, because I think it was in the World Cup a few years ago. It was, who was that presenter that, was flirting and chatting up all of his birds at his workplace? It was a Spurs player. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about, yeah? A Spurs player. Jermaine, not Pennant. Jermaine.
Who are you talking about? Spurs?
Not Defoe. Yeah. It's not Jermaine Defoe. You know that big story, geezer. Yeah, where he was like, he's married, he's got kids, and he was like flirting and trying to like shag and get head off like all of his work colleagues at the BBC. He was going to take over Gary Lineker.
I know who you're talking about.
What's his name?
It's Jermaine Genius.
Anyways, Genius. Bro, he was commentating on the World Cup and he was talking about Declan Rice and he labelled him as the Rolls Royce of a player. I think that's the first time I heard that sort of, and he is. He is just a smooth operator and whilst being an absolute beast. The free kicks, the range of passings, the way he breaks up play, and he's sexy as well, man. He is sexy as hell. But yeah, just on his looks alone, you've got to pay 100 million for that. No, jokes aside. Hits.
So we've got some,
all day.
We've got some hits straight off the bat. So far, so good for the price tag. This is looking good for Florian Wirtz, right? It bears a good omen.
Yeah.
Now, next on the list, and still in the 100 million club, Jack Grealish from Villa City.
Yeah.
Hit or miss?
Hit. You know why? Right? Let's break it down, yeah? When Manchester City won the treble, he was in the first team, the majority of games playing on the left. His impact, his goals, his assists, his contribution to that treble is undeniable. That alone, bro, you win the Premier League, right? The winners are going to get 100 million. That's paid off. That's investment well paid. Break even. You win the Champions League, another 100 million. Now you're in profit. He was a huge part of that. Yes, I know what this last season, the season before, whatever, he hasn't been produced. Maybe, I don't know, he got shagged by Pep Guardiola. He didn't really like that sort of like touchy sort of thing. And you never know what's happened behind the scenes. And yeah, he has been poor, but we really don't, as I said, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know why he's been playing. We don't know why his form has dropped off. We don't know anything. We can only see on the pitch that he hasn't performed as well. But I just can't put it all down to Jack Grealish. But going back to it, 100 million, he's paid that back just from that one season. That is my opinion. I would even go to say he wasn't the main man in that treble, but he was a massive impact. And it could be, bro, without him, they may not have won the treble. I would even go as far as to say that. Hit.
They may not have. And I can agree with that sentiment. Here's my thing with Jack. I think he's been there now I think he's been there 4 seasons, actually. I'm not sure. I need to double check that, but he's definitely done 3 seasons there. That season you're talking about, the treble winning season, here's the bit I disagree with. He was a big part of it, correct. But he had half a good season where he was absolutely, in that half season, and he turned it on after January, I think, and he was integral at that point. And I suppose that's when you want to turn it on, right? I mean, half a good season, and everyone was like, oh my God, Jack Grealish. It's like, okay, cool, but he's had half a good season. And that is the only half a good season he's had. Now, it was a very important half good season because they ended up winning the treble. Super, super important. But he wasn't incredible whole season. I remember this distinctly because everyone was jumping on the bandwagon in like February, March. Like, oh yeah, Jack Grealish. Like, yeah, where's he been though for the last season and a half? Then he's gone back to having a poor season. Well, I say poor season. He's not even been playing really. And when he has played, he's coming on as a sub. Don't fancy him. Obviously now he wants to get rid of him. It's difficult for me to say.
That's unfair on Jack. Bro, that's unfair. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. You don't know what's happened behind the scenes. It is what it is. But, bro, I try and look at the whole picture, isn't it? Like, he's better than Doku, bro. Jack Grealish is a better player than Doku. I don't care. The only thing Doku has is he has the acceleration. Okay, I'll give that. But I don't think Doku's worth his price tag. If he's on this list that you've done, well, I'll go into it later. Right, but there's no question for me it'd be Jack Grealish. He should be the first in the first 11. Otherwise, who else should be? Tell me.
Well, I don't know better than Pep, right? We're saying Pep's one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest ever. If he doesn't fancy Jack, I'm going to back Pep. Like, genuinely, I'm going to back Pep. We don't know. This is the thing. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, but Pep Guardiola didn't fancy Ibrahimovic.
But is Pep the best? Is Pep the greatest manager of all time or not?
Yes, but he is. But there is lots of cases where, he does not get along with a lot of his players. There's been a few cases, Etu, Ibrahimovic, etc. Ibrahimovic is world class. I just don't care in it. Like PSG for the Milan, even for Barcelona when he had his chance.
Yeah, he's
world class.
He's won league titles at Barca under Pep, by the way. So I know. Ibra doesn't like Pep, and that's fair enough. They were still successful together. And I think you can only judge if you're going to give him praise for the things he's done well, you've got to, in equal measure, be critical for things he hasn't done well. And he's not been able to get in the first 11 this season. And when he was in the first 11, he's had half a good season at Man City. Now, it wasn't the most important half, but he's only had half a good season. Out of 4, or maybe 3, let me know in the comments, guys, if it's 3 or 4 seasons. But based on that alone for me, I'm going to say he's been a miss. For 100 mil, I wanted more than just half a good season. But that's just me. Right.
Guys, let us know. What do you think? Hit or miss, Jack Grealish? Let us know in the comments down below. I would actually really love to know.
Yeah, so would I, actually. I think, I'm happy to be swayed if there's a strong argument against it. Right, next on the list, I think you and I will both be in agreement on this one. Mr. Almost 100 million, Romelu Lukaku, Inter Milan to Chelsea. My guy, tell me, hit or massive flop?
What's bigger than massive flop? Whatever that phrase or that word is, that's what it is. Let's just use massive flop. Geezer, all Chelsea fans, when he said he wanted to come back to his boyhood club after his very successful Milan team, Inter Milan seasons, we were all arrogant. We were all like, we've got the league now. Yeah, because we've got to have Romelu Lukaku, who's, Premier League worthy, Premier League experience, Premier League successful, still not, at the right age at the right time. It looked like the stars had aligned. And I remember his first couple of games when he was scoring, I was like, it's over, man. It's over. Chelsea are going to smash this league, yeah? And then, bro, it just all fell apart. He just missed everything. I remember there's so many clips like of Romelu Lukaku, not just playing in Chelsea shirt, but even for like the Belgium team, where he just kicks the ball and it just ends up in his face. Like, I don't even know how that's possible. The amount of misses that this guy has, it's paying 100 million for Romelu Lukaku is an absolute joke. It's one of Chelsea's worst ever transfer businesses. But I think I said it before, I can't blame the club because the club wanted him, the fans wanted him. I all put it down to Lukaku and his mentality. And you know what? The guy's is absolutely disrespectful. Yep. When he was basically saying, you know what? I miss playing in Milan. I want to go. I want to leave. Bro, what do you expect? Like, how do you think Chelsea fans are going to react to
He said that in the middle of the season as well, by the way. It wasn't like he waited until the end. Bro. It was like coming up to Christmas time, like the busiest period. And he's gone... Yeah, I miss Inter. It was music to my ears.
Bro, that is weak mentality. That's weak mentality. Surely you are like 300-400 grand a week. You're coming back to the club that raised you, right? You're now in your prime peak. And because you have a few bad games and you're going to get negativity from everyone, do you want to go home and cry? You want to go back to Italy like a little bee, which is what you are? You're not a real man, Romelu Lukaku. You're a whiny bitch. Why? We don't really like too much profanity on this. But I cannot help it because that word is fitting. Huge fail.
Fair. I think we're in agreement on this one. Guys, Marky Mark's not pulling any punches on Lukaku. Understandable, though, considering it's his club that he played for and flopped at. However, I'm going to take your Lukaku and I'm going to up it. 89 million, Paul Pogba, Juventus to United. Are we going hit or miss?
Bro, you know what? I'm going to ask you. You say this now. Paul Pogba, Juventus to Manchester United, 89 million. Bro, that was 89 million in 2016. That was 9 years ago. That fee will probably be about 140, 150 million in 2025. So 9 years ago, 89 million. let's not also forget, he was an academy player. They let him go for free.
Exactly.
They repurchased him a few years later for 89 million. What do you think? Hit or miss, and why?
That's exactly the reason why it is such a massive miss and one of the biggest jokes, right? Because they had him. Fergie didn't fancy him, sent him out to Juventus, and then they end up spending 90 million to bring him back. And he was turd. He was so bad for United. He had a couple of months. The worst thing about it, actually, is that he had some games where he was just so dominant. I'm like, why is he not doing that every game? Even United fans will say the same thing, right? It's not just me looking from the outside in.
Yeah.
United fans will agree. Pogba, the fact that they paid that much money for him and then he came back and was such a flop. And you're right, 2016, 90 million, he'd still be number one today. He'd be number one on this list, even if it happened today, because you're right, that 90 mil translates to probably about 140 today. So absolute monster flop for me. Pogba was terrible, and the fact that what makes it so funny is the whole way it played out. That United had him, then let him go. Juventus must be he's done well at Juventus. They won what they won, and then they got 90 mil for him. I mean, they're loving life, aren't they? So massive flop for me. Massive.
Yeah. Next.
Right. Next on the list, it's again Man United, and I'd say arguably the biggest flop in Premier League history. Anthony.
Arguably.
Anthony.
Arguably, yeah, we could argue about it.
Manchester United for 82 million. Hit or miss?
Hit.
You're joking. There's no way.
Of course, bro. Anthony, bro. Oh my gosh. I was a little bit excited because when I didn't really know too much about him before he arrived. But, he worked with Ten Hag. Ten Hag brought him in. And I saw a few clips and I was like, oh, a skillful Brazilian. This will be interesting. Let me see how this guy cracks on. But my gosh, what a disappointment. He got run over in the Premier League. I remember when he did that. Remember, he got blasted because he got the ball. And his trademark skill, that round the world sort of thing. And he did it twice in a game. All these years I've watched football, I've never seen someone take the piss or be so in love with their own skills. And to do that, I remember when he did that, bro. And then he tried to do a through ball and he flopped it. I think that was added, insult to injury sort of thing. So he is so bad. He's not built for the Premier League. I think the word that I would use is a fraud. He's a fraud, bro. And now he's gone off to Real Betis, and he is lauded and loved there. And I think Joaquin was I think he obviously retired. I think he's in higher uppers now. He's like, we must do everything and anything to secure Anthony on the long-term permanent deal. And fair from his perspective, because in that league, he stands out, right? So that's the counter argument to it. But we're talking about Ajax to Manchester United for 82 million. Bro, you got shipped. They couldn't wait to ship him off any sooner. They already had EasyJet booked, bro. They already had the cab from his yard to the airport in Manchester booked. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. He was such a flop. The stats were so bad. His face is so bad.
Yeah.
We never discriminate, only when it's necessary, bro. And I know you agree with me.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think?
I agree, man.
What do you think, Anthony?
Massive flop.
Hit or miss?
Massive flop. He's unfortunately, or fortunately for us, a complete laughing stock. He does these tricks, but sometimes I've seen him do these tricks. And one of the games he's trying to do, it wasn't even around the world. He tried to do something else, and he ended up just taking the ball and himself out of play under no pressure. It just summed him up. I think he's an absolute joker. Right, let's rattle through the rest of the list. So
wait. I do have to ask you, because I am genuinely interested, yeah. Who is a worse flop? Anthony to Manchester United or Pepe of Arsenal? Pepe to Arsenal.
Anthony,
which one?
Anthony all day long. Anthony all day long. That's not me being biased. Pepe, he goes under the radar because he was just pretty useless when he was at us. But he scored a fair few goals for us compared to Anthony. Anthony's done nothing for United. He's done absolutely nothing. Okay. Whereas Pepe did score some goals, and he scored a couple of big goals for us. But overall, Pepe was terrible. But he's £10 million cheaper, fair. And he was better. But I can't stand the geezer, so I'm not a fan of Pepe. But yeah, I think that one's easy for me. It's got to be Anthony. Right, Harry Maguire. So we got United again now. Slabhead himself transferred over from City for 80 million.
Which City? Leicester City.
Leicester City. Yeah, transferred over from Leicester City to United for 80 million in 2019. He gets a lot of stick, Slabhead. And he's the face of many memes. What are you saying with him? Hit or miss?
Yes. For me, a miss. Because when you spend 80 million, bro, 6 years ago, you know that translates to 110, 120 today. It's not. He just hasn't done enough to justify that price tag. There are some games where he bosses it. I'll give him that. He is a Premier League player, but we're talking about 80 million 6 years ago. Has he justified that? No way. No way. What do you think?
Agreed. He hasn't. I think he's a miss, unfortunately, or fortunately. He came over. He's just not an £80 million defender. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're in that bracket and you're a defender, you're a centre-back, and you're 80 million, you're the most expensive defender in Premier League history, right? And you're more expensive than Virgil van Dijk. You're more expensive than Gabriel Saliba. You're more expensive than the best centre-backs around. You cannot be 80 mil and do what he does. I mean, half the time he falls over his own feet. There's so many funny compilations of him, but you watch him in game. No, I'll give him a bit of a break in the sense that he's working with a calamitous defence at United, so it makes it a lot harder for himself, or for him rather. And that's not his fault. But he can only do what he can do, and he should really be standing out in a terrible defence. And in fact, he's not.
It's not his fault though.
Well, it's not his fault
that there's 80 million.
It's not his fault. Yeah, I agree.
It's not his fault. Like all these players, it's not their fault that they are purchased at such a high price. But of course, the negative is that all eyes are now on these players, and if they don't perform, then you're going to get slaughtered. Harry Maguire is a good defender. He would be in his prime in the England squad, not the first 11. But it's just that price tag. He's a good player, man. But 80 million, no way. That is a fail. Yes.
Agreed. I mean, we agree on that. Next on the list.
Oh, God. Well.
Bro, Mudryk. Rising to 80 mil with add-ons. What are you saying about Mudryk to Chelsea? Surely less the better here. Hit or miss?
Massive miss. But I must say, when on his first game, and he was doing the speed on this guy, and that we saw a little glimpse of his talent, the trickery on that first game. All my Chelsea boys, we were like, bro. It wasn't Mudryk, it was Mudders, bro. Mudders. That's what we were talking about, the Mudders. But that Mudders actually turned to dut, bro. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, bro. Because after that one game, bro, like the ball would just get tangled in his feet. He would run. The thing is with Mudryk, bro, his body moves faster than his brain can process it. And you can see, because the way he fumbles around, he doesn't know what to do. His body is too quick. His brain is he hasn't got a footballing brain. I think that's what it is. It is a massive flop. And look, serious, let's be serious, he hasn't been playing for a few months now because he's had this drug test, which he's obviously failed. But he's done another, then he got suspended. They've done another test. They find that it's okay. He's even done a lie detector, to prove that he hasn't, taken these sort of enhanced drug, these enhancing drugs. So his sentence has been reduced. So that's clearly, well, not clearly, but it kind of gives you the impression that he's not guilty. But before that, bro, he was missing everything. He would just run so fast without the ball, just left the ball behind. He's still running. and the misses and the skying everything. I honestly don't know who's worse, Mudryk to Chelsea or Anthony to Manchester United, bro.
Yes,
I just don't know.
That's the debate there. That is the debate there. Two wingers,
Yeah.
two massive price tags, two huge football clubs,
Yeah.
two horrendously huge flops. That's it.
There you go. You just said that. Yeah.
Right, so we've done the top 9. The top 10 is complete with Florian Wirtz sitting top of the tree as the most expensive transfer in Premier League history. Liverpool fans that we know, friends of ours, some of them, unfortunately, rightly so, they're buzzing. I've got a couple of questions for you to close the show out with. Firstly, Mark, will he deliver the goods or will he be a flop? Imagine we're doing this list and we're going through it in a year's time, or even 2 seasons if you want to give him 2 seasons. Is he going to be a hit like Caicedo or Rice, or is he going to be a flop like Anthony or Mudryk? What do you reckon?
I reckon that he is going to, based on what I've seen, guy is bordering world class. Liverpool are a lucky team. It's a very steep price tag, 150 million. Smashed the British transfer record. But I believe, bro, he is going to rip up the league. I'm gonna say he has the potential to rip up the league, potentially as much as when Kevin De Bruyne came back from Wolfsburg to Man City. Guy became like the best midfielder. He developed into the best midfielder in the world. Even now, we're talking about Kevin De Bruyne as being in the first 11 of the all-time Premier League history. I believe that this guy has the potential to do that. I think he's also going to a club where he can develop and maximize that potential. I do think that he's going to be a hit, geezer. I'm jealous, and they are lucky.
I agree. Unfortunately, I agree. Imagine they're paying whatever it is, 140 mil. Let's call it 140 with all the add-ons. If he is going to be a hit like a Salah or a De Bruyne, for example, and I know the different type of player, Salah, but what I mean is if Liverpool have this kid now for 7 seasons, it's 20 mil a season, right?
Yes.
They could easily recoup that back because that is going to be a body of work. And I think he is every bit the player that Liverpool think they've bought. I genuinely do. You watch him at Bayer Leverkusen this season, they actually went unbeaten and they won the league, not last season, season before now. Obviously, the season just ended.
Yes.
They beat Bayern Munich to the title. They cantered to the title, really. Easy work for him. He was a big part. He was a big part of that.
Yeah.
He, not only just his assists, his footwork, his general intelligent play, he can bang them. He can bang. He can bang goals from outside the box. He can score from inside the box. He is deadly. He is going to cause so much havoc. I actually think he's going to be one of the biggest hits, even though
it's exciting.
Yeah, it's a hefty price tag, right? And sometimes the price tag does weigh on players, but I think this kid's got bottle to go with it. I think he'll be able to handle it. We both reckon he'll deliver the goods. Guys, let us know in the comments if you think he will deliver the goods. And we want to know your thoughts on our final question before we see the pod out. Are Liverpool clear favourites now that they've signed Wirtz?
No.
Tell me why not.
No. Because, bro, like Man City, have strengthened. They are not holding back. Pep must be vexed, bro, that he had such a terrible season by his standards. Man City are going to be a freaking force. Yeah? Arsenal FC, your team. Bro, you could get Gyökeres or Sesko and Rodrigo and Zubimendi, right? Don't tell me that they are clear-cut favourite, that Liverpool are clear-cut favourites. No way. The amount of pressure on Man City to deliver, the amount of pressure on Arsenal and Mikel Arteta to deliver, we don't know what they're going to do yet. Well and truly, the transfer window hasn't even really started. It's starting tomorrow, right? We don't know what these other teams are going to do. We don't know what... I really want to mention Chelsea in this conversation, but even if they get whoever they want, I think they could challenge, but they're not clear. They're not going to be favourites by any means. The question is, are Liverpool clear-cut favourites now? If you're talking right now and no one else signs anyone, yeah, they're favourites. Yeah, all right. Right. But, bro, we don't know what other teams are going to be doing. There's still a long way to go. And even right to the end, because you know a lot of the major action happens on deadline day, because they have to sell players, they have to bring in players. We ain't gonna know, bro. I'm not saying that that Liverpool clear-cut favourites. Not with all the reasons I just mentioned. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you can look at it two different ways. You can look at it that way. They're not clear-cut favourites. Also, it's very hard to retain a title, right? Only a couple of teams in Premier League history have done it, or 3 teams in Premier League history have done it. Chelsea are one of them, unfortunately. Yeah, City and United, the other 2. It's very difficult to retain a title over here because, you know, the target's on your back. Everyone's going to be gunning for Liverpool. The other way of looking at this, though, is that they basically walked the title and they weren't really pushed because Arsenal crumbled and City weren't City. Yeah. And everyone else weren't having the best season. So it worked out really well. We don't know what slots Liverpool's really capable of. And I think we're going to have to find that out next season. That's what excites me because Wirtz is going to take them up a level, but they're also going to get pushed by the likes of City. Arsenal can't do what they did this season. It's just unforgivable if they do. So by hook or by crook, there are going to be teams, or at least Man City, or at least one team, is going to push Liverpool. So we're going to have to see Liverpool go to that 4th and 5th gear that they didn't have to go to this season because, let's face it, they won the title by 10 points at a canter. 2nd, 3rd gear. They didn't even get pushed. Now, they've kept Salah. They've kept Van Dijk. You don't like the left wing option. They might play Florian Wirtz as a false 9, and they might stick Gakpo or Diaz out on the left, right? And whatever you think about them, they have done a job. Gakpo scored when he's played. Has started the season really well, and I think he tailored off towards the end. But he was really good at the first part of the season. Cody Gakpo had a good season. He's improving. This Liverpool team is looking good. And when you add Florian Wirtz in, and now Gravenbert's got one more season under his belt. They've got Mac Allister, and then they've got Szoboszlai, whatever his name is. He has an engine and a half. I think Liverpool are looking good. I think they will be the team to beat no matter what anyone else does in the window with this signing with Wirtz. But clear favourites, way too strong. Guys, you let us know. Are Liverpool now favourites? Liverpool fans, let's hear from you. All I'm hearing from our Liverpool fans is they're quietly confident. They're the ones down here in London, they're loving it. They're actually saying, yeah, I fancy this, no matter what anyone else does. Do you guys agree? Or are you thinking more along the lines of me and Mark here? Let us know in the comments. Mark, time to land.
Guys, we appreciate you here to the end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, do us a favour. Do like the video. It helps us reach more people. And if you like the video, then just like it, you know. That's what that like button's there for. And if you want to see more of our content, click this video right here, and we see you good people in the next one. Thank you, guys.